Welcome, dive buddies. This is Scuba GOAT
Under the sea.
the podcast for the inquisitive diver.
Hey there, dive buddies, and welcome to the show. I'm Matt Waters, and I will be your host on Scuba GOAT. During this first episode, I will endeavour to unscramble my ever-inquisitive mind and explain how the show came about and what you should expect from future episodes. Now, there's a number of factors that led to the creation of Scuba GOAT, but first and foremost, it's my absolute passion for diving. Being subsurface is well and truly my happy place. Secondly, if I'm not briefly drooling over scuba pictures and videos found on various social media channels, then I'm editing my own photos from recent dives and getting excited about the next dive. But when will it be? With who? And where? Now, I lead dive expeditions all over the world. Thailand, Papua New Guinea, South Africa, Galapagos, Komodo, Rajrampat. Or I did until 2020 kicked in and halted all nomadic life on Earth. Well, it's at this point I would like to highlight that I founded a scuba booking agency a few years ago, and I have done my utmost to visit as many of the operators as possible to gain a feel for the location and what is on offer. I'll circle back to this in a moment. Now, I tend to be pretty positive about most things in life, and even though lockdown and travel bans suck, especially when you're a travel agent, there has to be something positive to be gained. Eureka! I can restructure our website and tag on the whistles and bells to make it a super cool website for when travel starts again. Well, the website's almost complete, and we're still no closer to the next adventure. So here I sit, a scuba-addicted mid-40s chap staring at a laptop monitor day in, day out, feverishly checking for the golden email from Qantas announcing the checkered flag on COVID, while simultaneously firing the starter's pistol on the race to check-in for some far-off exotic dive location. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a rather inquisitive chap, and not very patient when it comes to sitting and reading. But if you tell me something, and I'm slightly interested, then you have my undivided attention. Unbeknownst to him, Joe Rogan is my new best friend. He's had my attention almost daily for at least the last 4 months now. And so, with several weeks of cabin fever under my belt, and my new ear buddy Joe chirping away, a smidge of clarity shone through. He's a comedian talking to another comedian about comedy. How easy is that? Now, I'm not saying comedy is easy, far from it, and I'm definitely not a comedian myself. But if you're involved in a conversation where the content has you hooked, then surely it must be pretty simple. Now, you remember I mentioned my travel agency earlier. I've spent a lot of money and time trying to visit as many of the operators I promote as possible, and for good reason. Yes, I get to dive, but more importantly, communication occurs. And I get to talk to people. There is something so unique about talking that cannot be replicated through script and pictures. Yes, they are all a source of information, but you could argue that they do not contain the feelings of excitement, tone, or passion that the spoken word does. For example, I could show you some amazing photos of the superpods of dolphins, innumerable sharks, humpback whales, and the cacophony of noise that comes with a cornered bait ball of sardines in South Africa. But absolutely nothing compares to actually being in the water and feeling that event. Now, in my mind's eye, the next best thing to that is hearing firsthand what it is like to be there. And so, why don't I talk to divers about these unique locations and find out what's so special about their choice of scuba paradise? It's at this point that the thought processes went into overdrive once more. I could talk to my dive buddies in the industry. I want to expand my knowledge on where to dive. I want to tell the world about the amazing places I've already been. I want to let my guests know that once again we will dive together. The operators I book with, I'm sure they could do with a bit of support right now. And the operators I've not met, who are they? Where are they? What's it like? The charity organisations that slave away tirelessly in pursuit of success could do with a bit of support too, I'm sure. But surely all of this information can be found online. Well, indeed it can. But as I reach for the headphones and start the next Joe episode, I can confidently confirm that the excitement that once came with a phone notification has given way to the disappointment of knowing that it's not a future guest wanting to talk about their desire of their next scuba adventure. Merely another pointless notification from social media tortuously reminding me of last year's Galapagos trip. Maybe I'm just getting older. Wiser? Impatient with the ever-increasing infection rate of desire to obtain a blue thumb, a red heart, or a sideways smiley emoji. Either way, I miss talking. and I miss the excitement of organising people's dive adventures, let alone my own. So until I can once more view my phone as a friend, until that Qantas golden email comes pinging through my inbox, maybe I'm not the only person who wants to talk about diving. There's a lot of positives that could be drawn out of this little podcast. Let's give it a go. And so, Scuba GOAT was created. Nothing grand or corporate. Designed and created at the kitchen table in Sydney. Just an inquisitive 40-something diver, missing the global travel and wanting to know the gossip. Wanting to help the industry, its guests, and ultimately wanting to know where the greatest of all-time diving may be.
This is Scuba GOAT
Under the sea.
the podcast for the inquisitive diver.